Take you back to our breaking story now. The Special Investigating Unit has been granted an order to freeze a multi-million rand property allegedly bought with money from the National Lotteries Commission. The house belongs to Kganyazo Nevutanda, who is the sole director of Butanda Investments. The SIU's Kaizer Kganyazo joins us now again to speak to us. And Tata Kganyazo, thank you very much once more for your time. Now, I remember about 3 months ago or so, the SIU made a presentation to the Parliament's Standing Committee on Trade and Industry. And you were talking about this web of corruption that seems to be happening at NLC. Does this also form part of that same probe from November 2020?
Good day, Marcelo, and good day to the viewers. Yes, this is part of what we're talking about. And then we indicated, because at the time, we did not even mention names of people because of the fact that those matters had not been brought before the court. In this particular instance, this is one of the incidents that we were talking about where in our investigations, we found that there was grant funding that was given to NPOs, and part of the monies that was given to them was then forwarded to a law firm that was responsible for the purchase of this property. Therefore, about 5 companies got an amount of about 100 million in terms of grant funding, and that some of this money was then channeled to the purchase of this, as it is alleged. Therefore, we have now gone to the special tribunal to freeze this house because we believe it is part of the proceeds of an unlawful activity. And we then, within 60 days, are going to then take the matter back to the tribunal so that we can set aside those contracts that were entered into between the NLC and these NPOs.
And I remember there was also, the investigation also showed that there were some rehabilitation centers and I think old age homes, etc., children's homes that receive grants of millions of rands from the NLC, but were never even completed.
Definitely. There is one in particular that comes to my mind where it was a rehabilitation center in one of the provinces. I think it was Mpumalanga. And this rehabilitation center was given 31 million. And it was not, by the time we went, it was not even finished. And it looked very bad for a 31 million rand kind of a rehabilitation center. And now we know, because one of these companies or these NPOs that were putting money into this trust account of the lawyers that facilitated the sale of this specific house was one of those NPOs that was involved. And now we understand out of the investigation of the SIU why we are where we are, because they could not have finished the thing because some of the money was put somewhere else.
Now that you have released a name, I mean, earlier in Parliament you couldn't release the names and you've explained why. This is Kganyazo Nevutanda. What happens to him now? We know that you're going to, the asset forfeiture unit will, of course, take over that home that he owns, etc. But what will investigations against him and his company, Butanda Investments, entail?
Yeah, from where we are sitting, you must remember that this particular individual was the former chairperson of the National Lotteries Commission, and is not a chairperson anymore. Therefore, what is now going to happen is we are taking this matter back to the special tribunal to set aside the contracts. And once the contracts are set aside, then we have to recover the money that we expect to recover. And then after that, we will make referrals to of all the people, because it's not only him. If you look at the order, it has got many names, about 20 or so people and institutions. Yes, therefore we are able to then go after all of them. If we sense that there was criminality, therefore that part will be taken to the NPA so that the NPA can take it further and deal with those people. If some of the people that are involved had whatever kind of relations with the people in the NLC, will then take the issue of disciplinary action to the National Lotteries Commission. At the moment, our investigation will continue to be open so that we are able to follow up all the leads that we find.
And it looks like the SIU's team of investigators, in terms of this particular case involving the NLC, it keeps showing more and more corruption in terms of the big web, right? It looks like the well goes down even further. I mean, since November 2020, it's been investigated, and every time we get another, we get more information about the web of corruption within the NLC. But with this decision now, being granted the permission to be able to, go seize that home, does it mean we're closer to finality in this particular investigation?
Not necessarily. There's still a lot of work that needs to be done. And I can take this opportunity to really thank the investigators of the SIU for the good work that they are doing. And they are continuing with a lot of others, because the problem with this is when people see an interview like we are having now, and people then phone and say, we've got more information about this. Can we give it to you so that we take it further? And new leads then emerge. Therefore, it might take time, but the good part about it is, as a SIU, when we get an outcome, we deal with it and move forward and wait for the next outcome. We don't wait for the end of the investigation for us to do it at once. Therefore, when it comes up, we'll deal with it. When new leads come up, we'll follow them, and they will take us somewhere else.
Well, thank you very much for speaking to us. Indeed, Kaizer Kganyazo, he's the spokesperson for the SIU, with that report, that breaking news that they've been able to get the permission to actually seize a home worth millions of rand paid for by money from the NLC.